Welcome to Pull the Pin Already, a place where average veterans come to share their views on the world we live in. We can't promise you'll like what we have to say, but we promise it's genuine. I'm Jim.
And I'm Mike.
It's time to pull the pin.
Let's go.
What do we got on the board today, Mike?
I don't know.
Oh, that's a good topic. We could talk for hours about I don't know.
Well, that's good you say that, Jim, because where I was going with that was I don't know about this election year, this election cycle that we're in. And I'm really bothered.
Well, could you at least believe that maybe this is probably the most important election that you've ever seen?
This year, yeah.
Okay.
I can. You know why? Because 4 years ago, I was told the same thing. 4 years before that, I was told the same thing.
Do you really not see a difference between this and?
No. It's the same old thing, man. It's like a revolving dartboard.
Well, you know, I do agree with you that politics itself which is probably why not a lot of people like it or care to discuss it and all that. I do believe it's cyclical and it's all the same. They're all the same, everything, blah, blah, blah. I do believe it is. But I really have to say that I have never seen in my entire life such disdain for a sitting president ever. No, you could say what you want to say. There's a lot of people who didn't like Obama or his ways, but I don't ever think I've seen this much toward Obama. I mean, even
you know why?
Why?
That kind of goes into our one of the last shows we had where I said, you know, that we're talking about the police culture, and I said it's similar to a political culture.
Sure.
You know, when your team when you have that president, you don't see everything that he does bad, or people don't admit to it. So it's like when your team is in there, they don't cheat, they don't steal, they don't lie, they don't do anything. And that's what I see this year. The same thing I've seen 4 years ago, the same thing I've seen 8 years ago, same thing I've seen 12 years ago. And I'm not gonna lie to you, it's tiring. It really is.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's why I love social media, and because you can always go back to old comments, old articles, old blogs on how people felt during that election year, and it's the same thing. The only thing that changes is now the other side is saying the same thing, that they feel the same way the other side did. You understand what I mean?
Sure. Well, let's I guess let's bring it into the military for a second, just because it's a little controlled environment. Let's bring it into the military because we served underneath the president, commander in chief. I mean, he is the highest ranking officer. So when we talk about presidents, we are directly affected because everything we do is under his authority.
Right.
So I've never been so into politics when I was directly under the president's authority. Like, I don't know if that makes sense or it's confusing, but, you know, in my time in the military, the only time I ever remember being disturbed by a president is when a certain president committed adultery and got away with it, but yet somebody I was apprehending didn't.
Yeah.
So that's the only time I ever said, well, how in the heck can the commander-in-chief, the highest ranking, you know, military official, break a law in the military? Because I don't know if people know this or not, but adultery is still a law in UCMJ, unless it's been taken out recently. I don't know. I can't contest from that. Maybe somebody listening can give us the facts on that. But it was still punishable in the military. So if he's the highest ranking person in the military, so that was the only time I remember saying, this guy he needs to be accountable.
Right.
You know, but other than that, it was politics as usual.
Okay.
So
like I said, it depends. Depends on which side of the fence you're on, if you will, because I remember a guy in our unit, he wrote $6,000, I think it was, in bad checks, and he ended up in Mannheim. He did a stint in Mannheim, came back, you know, I think it was like 60, 90 days stint he did in Mannheim, and the vice president did the same thing, and he had more in bad checks. They found out, and nothing happened.
Sure. Well, there's definitely a double standard, but I mean,
Yeah.
On top of it, but I don't know, is technically, you might have to educate me on this if you know, or maybe somebody listening or watching. I don't know. Does the vice president even fall in our chain of command?
Depends on who you ask.
Well, I mean, no, I mean
Yeah.
this legally. Like, I know he
Right.
steps in for the president, but from what I understand is we go right to the president as the commander in chief.
Right. Right.
So I think the vice president, whatever he did, is still a civilian thing.
Oh, I get what you're
You
saying.
get what
Then.
I'm saying
Yeah.
from that
Yeah.
angle. So,
Right.
like I said, comparison to what I was talking about, the president is the commander in chief. He is supposed to be our highest ranking military, commander in chief. I don't know. I don't even, to be honest with you, I never had to arrest a president. I don't even subjective to UCMJ laws. So I could sound completely ignorant, but they didn't train me on that, and I never had to encounter that. So
No,
in all
he's not
fairness,
subject to.
yeah, I could believe that, and that would have been my initial belief.
Right.
But the point being is he's still in our chain of command as far as pictures on the wall and all that stuff. But so, anyways, back off that though. But I still, the point I guess I was getting at is I don't remember being so involved in politics in the military.
Right.
But maybe as a personal thing, I just wasn't interested. It was all the same to me.
I didn't care.
Right, because everything.
While I was in, I mean, even soon after I got out, so many years, I really didn't care because I never felt like it affected me and mine. Right down to the dollar, if you will, where I was living, and I didn't see it. I was oblivious to it, so I didn't care because no matter who was in office while you're in the military, they say go, you go.
So you don't think today, in this day and age, does it affect you?
What? Who's in the office?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not in the military anymore, buddy.
Well, I'm just saying in general for
Yeah.
military and outside the military, because we also have presidents that that drained the sources and resources from the military, and then those that filled them up. I mean, I could clearly remember a smaller, smarter army. You remember that? That's
Yeah.
around the time when I saw the military change, because I personally witnessed a president. Is a great concept, I think, in theory. But what had happened is they offered a whole bunch of bonuses to get out.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going to stereotype or label, or I know I'm going to rub a lot of people wrong, but a lot of what I saw, my personal experience, is I saw the backbone of the military. The backbone. That's your experienced guys in their late sergeant years get out because they still had good opportunities outside and they didn't have to be in the military.
Right.
But I witnessed what changed the military was the old timers stayed in, which were still good, a lot of respect, the old timers, and then the ones that needed the military, the ones that actually had it as a job to pay the bills and weren't confident on their skills outside. Now, that's just a generalization. So in all
Right.
fairness, if you're in that group, I don't mean everybody, I'm not picking on one particular, but what happened then is what happened. We ended up going to war. So what happened was a shift. All the soldiers that needed to became the backbone. And then we started letting in all the kids who wanted a college education.
Okay.
So I think it was actually the breakdown of our military, because now that's the peak of when our war took place. And now we're sending all these people in, the old timers ready to get out, who may have dropped out before the war. And then we've got the bulk of the people who were kind of stuck in there. Now, 9/11 did allow us to get a more robust a recruitment of people who really wanted to fight and go win wars. But I
Right.
think the majority of what I saw in the Army, and I'm only speaking at the Army in my experience, was a military full of a lot of people who either had to be there or didn't want to be there.
So.
And I think that was related to the president's decision.
So.
So I think it's why you saw a lot of casualties in training, casualties in war, because they weren't prepared. Because when they did go to the smaller, smarter military, you can probably attest to this, and this you won't agree with this. When they cut down personnel, they cut down training. I think you saw this firsthand.
Yeah.
So we had to go perform. We no longer were allowed to do garrison, combat missions, and training. We had to do garrison, combat, and missions.
Right.
Training took the bite.
Yeah.
So what did that do to us? All our training came from real world missions.
Right.
So I think that had a significant impact. And
Well-
then combined with the personnel.
Yeah, but no.
Go ahead. Feel free to pick it apart.
Even with the drawdown, I'm not going to get into the mentality of the people who stayed in, and versus those who took the bonus, got out, and that. But even with the drawdown, we were still the biggest, baddest mofos on the block.
Sure, but
Yeah,
you can't deny that with a lack of training, no one's getting any better. It's all through experience.
yeah, but we got through it. That's my whole point. We were still the biggest, the baddest.
Well, I
You
guess
know,
I
we were still doing what we do best in that predicament, which is go in, kick ass, take names.
well, I guess on a world scale, I won't disagree with that. But I'm
Now,
talking about on
okay,
a military scale within the United States of America and our forces alone. I believe we took a lot of unnecessary casualties in training alone. When people were deployed, they were pulled in for like a 1 month training and then sent overseas to fight in a war that you and I haven't even seen or experienced.
well, I get that, but that has happened so many times before. And maybe, like you said, it's a good concept, but maybe the concept came from the way we did things in the past.
Well,
I didn't like it personally, but
I
we got
guess
through it.
I guess if I could summarize my point is if we have a strong, robust military already built up to handle it, then we can have better trained professionals as opposed to drafting people or just running through the mill. Hurry up, get these guys trained. They need to deploy.
Yeah,
That's
I
my
get
point, I
that.
guess.
I
So
get that. But even if you have that large, robust military, we still go to war and we win. Even when you had the drawdown, at the peak of the drawdown, the United States Navy could still defeat
sure,
what
I'm no
six,
longer.
seven countries at the same time. You
We're
know what I
going
mean?
down. We're going down a whole different rabbit hole. So
Yeah, I know.
let me bring this back. I have no doubt or confidence in our military. I
It
think we
doesn't sound like that when you're
Well,
speaking,
no,
man.
I'm saying we lost
Yeah.
a lot of good leaders when we decided to go smaller, smarter. It's not the concept they thought smaller, smarter was going to be all the good leaders. What I'm saying is what I witnessed is it didn't work that way. A presidential idea, I don't know if it strictly came from him, so it's really not fair, but it was enacted under
Right.
him that when he
What
said,
happens under him, he has to take
yes,
it. Good, the
smaller,
bad, and
smarter
the
military. And I think the concept was we're going to have a whole bunch of special forces guys and have to worry about less stuff. And we're going to go destroy and have still the greatest military. But I think in practice, it didn't happen that way. So to bring it back, I'm saying that the highest leader in our country affects our military and it affects us in the military. But I still, to this day, have never been so politically involved until after I got in the military and until recently.
Okay. All right. Then I think it's fair to say that what I've witnessed, you haven't. Because what you say now, I say I witnessed the same thing
Sure.
4 years ago. I witnessed the same thing 8 years ago, 12 years ago. I can go all the way back to the first Bush. You know what I mean? Where I was reading a lot, and then, these days you just get on social media, it seems like. But, reading papers and articles and things of that nature. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing every 4 years. Whose team is better? And that's all it's about. And I truly believe people really don't care about America as a whole. They only care about America being led by their team. I truly believe it. Because anytime you mention you want to talk about the military with the drawdown, I can talk about the military, Desert Shield, Desert Storm, where they didn't have the right equipment, and then the MRAPs came in with the up armored kits and things of that nature. Talk about a rabbit hole, we could go down there. So that's why I say, no matter which side of the fence you're on, I can show you when your team did bad versus the other team. And I'm telling you, that's why I just say it's so tiring. This election cycle, I'm like, okay, here we go again. Watch, they're gonna say this, they're gonna say that, and then the other side is gonna say what they were saying
We're chasing a
four,
lot of
8 years ago.
rabbits.
Yeah,
We're chasing a lot of rabbits
yeah,
today, but it's good because it's genuine conversation. And I think that's what makes this so refreshing. Even if you don't agree with me and my experiences, I'm clearly saying they're mine and yours are yours. That's why we're bringing this
yeah, but yours are
conversation.
bad.
Of course,
Yeah.
because I'm not on your team, right? Go team Mike. Go team Mike. I got it. I got it now. So all right. So bring it back in an election though. I guess the team concept, it's nothing new. Like you said,
Yeah.
it's always been, but it's also, it's not let's be real. Both sides cheat. Both sides are not fair. Both sides do whatever they do to win. And I think the problem is when they start dragging us into it. Like it's been going on all the time up in Capitol Hill. I have never in my life ever had the idea that any president was going to get anything done because Congress has this habit of kicking cans down the road. And it
Yeah.
makes sense to me. You get paid good, you got a great salary, you got a great retirement, you got great health care. Why would you solve problems when you can have a job to do next month?
Yeah.
Like if you don't have a job to do, then they don't need you. So
Right.
I have no faith in Congress. I mean, there are good people there. I have no faith in most of our politicians. I do believe in the system. I do believe the way the system was designed, if we had more people of integrity, it would be the ultimate system. Obviously, nothing's perfect, so I'm never going to say that. But I just feel like you're correct. It's a recycled, old, tiring process. But I just feel like this day and age, this election, they've made it so personal. They force people into boxes, into labels, and to choose sides. Where before I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel that my neighbor who
Okay.
was a Democrat or a Republican or whatever, I didn't feel they were the enemy.
You feel that way now?
I feel now that they're against me. So even if I don't want to call them the enemy, they're attacking me, even
Oh,
if I don't even claim Republican or Democrat. Like
well,
even if I
yeah,
don't
okay.
claim it.
Yeah, well, Jim, maybe you should just claim it and get it over with.
Well, I do. I claim independent. But if you want, well, that's what I've always been. I've always been independent because I don't trust either side. I don't like either side's games. And just like you said, they shift them to whatever it is. But I also believe, and I have a full disclosure, I'll probably get all the hate in the world, we'll probably even lose people. I do.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't.
All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. I'll leave it there. You talk.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. But no, I can appreciate your level of enthusiasm, if you will, with in the political spectrum today. But I can honestly say where you are, I've been. I have labeled myself an independent in the past. And with me is whoever I am. I am labeled by the person I'm speaking with at the time. Because what I've noticed is if you're left or right, if we're talking and then I challenge you on anything, then you automatically put me in the category on the other side. Yeah. And independence, I think, is the worst group out there.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't, like I said, I only claim independent because, like I said, I don't trust either side.
Right.
So I don't really even want. Actually, I didn't even pick a side till they made me pick something. You know,
How
when
did
you
they
register to
make you?
vote, when they
Oh,
register to
yeah.
vote,
Yeah,
they
I
make you
agree.
pick something. So I said,
Yeah.
I'm independent because I'm not letting either one of you count me on your team.
Right.
And what I stand for is truth.
Mm.
I mean, so no matter what side you want to be on, it's truth. And
Right.
I hope that you're not challenging me so that I label you. Are you trying to bait me in?
Oh, no. I
All
would
right, all
never try and bait you in. You're an independent, man.
right. Love my independence.
Yeah.
But I do. I mean, if I had to choose sides, I would. But I choose sides based on what I believe.
Right.
I don't choose sides based on, well, this team's winning, that team's winning, or this team's going to do good. That. You know, if it's true, it's true.
Right.
You know, and that breaks it down to like what we talked about before too. Is, you know, our truth is based on our experiences.
Hmm.
So who am I to tell you what's right and wrong based on my experiences? I can't.
No, I kind of disagree with that when we're talking about politically. I disagree with that.
What do you mean? Give me an
Truth is
example.
not our truth is not based on our experience. Politically, our truth is based on what we choose to believe from either side, either three sides. In your case, you can say four sides if you put me in that group as well. But my truth is seeing, and it all started like this. Let me say this:
Yeah,
when
you have
they
to explain.
speak, no, when they speak, choose whoever you're talking about. When they speak, my intent is to prove them wrong. Because if I can prove you wrong, then you're lying, right? Or
Right.
just to say you're misspeaking. I don't want to call people liars, right? But if I can't prove you wrong, then I'll say, okay, maybe it is a lot of truth to that. You understand what I mean?
Sure.
Because now when let's just call it what it is. People today who support the person in office, the president, the non-military folk, I get it. But people who support him what I see personally is people speaking in support of the president, no matter what he says, does, no matter what he doesn't say or doesn't do.
See, but
And
that's where
I could say the same thing about the other side when Obama was in office.
but see, I understand what you're saying in concept, but in my experience, and maybe I don't know enough people, but I guess you call them, I don't even know what they call them. It's another label. but I don't encounter a lot of people who say everything he does or does. I don't encounter that. That has not been my experience. I
Okay.
think people call this president out on a lot of things, certain tweets that
People
don't
who
need to be
support
done.
him?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think what people like about the man, and it's just my experience, like I said, is that he's the first president I've ever seen deliver on many of his promises. Okay. I don't think he's, he lies like everybody else. He lies at stupid stuff just to save his ego. I don't think he wants to release his taxes because he doesn't want you to know exactly how poor he actually is.
Yeah, his ego.
But I also
Yeah.
don't think it's relevant. But like
Mhm.
I said, I don't see a lot of people saying, "Oh, he's never wrong." I don't believe that. I
So
think
wait, let's get back to that. Why do you say you don't believe it's relevant?
the taxes.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think his taxes are relevant because there's already a system in place to check his taxes.
Right. Now, the reason why I say his taxes are relevant because he wanted to see him on his predecessor's taxes.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's
Okay.
why that's the only,
No. Time out. That doesn't make it relevant.
yes, it does.
That might make him a hypocrite, but that doesn't make it any more relevant.
Oh, well then.
For us,
I
as far
agree
as we're concerned, I
Yeah.
could care less what I'm more concerned with how people like Nancy Pelosi got rich in office as opposed to a rich man's tax returns coming into office. I mean, I could care less. We already know the man worked the system great. He's an intelligent businessman. He worked bankruptcy to his favor. He worked the system. Oh, he
So
did.
can't you say the same thing about Pelosi?
No, because where is
worked
she
the
getting her
system.
money from? Let's be real.
She worked the system.
No. Well, okay.
Come on.
All right. I guess it depends what you call a system. Let's take, for
Right.
example, Congressman in North Carolina
Okay.
goes to a briefing and the coronavirus is coming, and all of a sudden millions of dollars of his stocks got sold.
Right.
Now, that is the system up there. He's got inside information. He
Right.
denies it, whatever. And I'm not going to accuse him of it. If it's not proved, it's not proved. But the point, it happened, is very
Right.
coincidental. So that is the system. And the problem is their system is so corrupt up there that they do make money. You're not supposed to go into office to get rich,
Exactly.
but they do. And
Right.
how do they? They have connections, they make investments. We don't have those connections. We can't make those investments. Now,
Right.
you can say that that's the system or work in the system, whatever, but we don't have that opportunity. So we put them in office to speak
Yeah.
for us,
Okay.
not make themselves rich.
Okay, I got all of that. But what I'm saying, everything you were saying about him, I can apply it to her. And I'm not saying it's
he's
right.
not doing it in office. He didn't do it in
You're
office.
saying that he's not doing anything in office where he's making money.
No, I didn't say that. I said, but he made his millions, billions, or whatever he's really worth. His
We
couple
don't know.
hundred thousands, whatever he's worth.
Taxes.
All his loans, that haven't been paid yet. He's made all that money. He's done all that before he came into office. Does it deserve some level of criticism? Sure, because we do want the most ethical, moral person running our country. We do.
Yeah, whatever. I just want to see it because he said that about his predecessor. So that's the principle you stand on. Show it. Show yours.
Sure. And
Yeah.
that's a different thing, I think.
Yeah.
I'm talking about in general as the public. I don't think that matters as much to me. And there is a system. The IRS is auditing his system. So now it comes in, do you trust the IRS? So that would be the guess. He does get audited. So,
Yeah, no. What I had to roll my eyes because I think I owed him some money, so I'm gonna be quiet. on it.
So just tell him you trust him. Oh, I trust him.
I did.
Check is in the mail.
Yeah.
And besides, I moved 3 times. I live in a trailer now in Alabama,
That's right.
right in the tornado zone. So you might not find me.
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Good point. Yeah, they get more tornadoes there.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. So, all right, let's get back to the election. Let's stop beating up on the presidents in the past because I think what do you think this election's going to be like? Because there seems to be a lot more shenanigans going on.
Yeah. Um, whatever I say, I'm gonna have to. Oh man, I can't take it back. I did not think he would lose the re-election. Probably up until 2 weeks ago.
And why is that?
Um, with everything that's going on, and when I say that to mean they're not gonna let it go.
Well, they're never going to let it go. I think somebody brought out the
Well,
fact already.
no. I guarantee you, if he loses, come November 3rd, 4th, whatever, everything they're saying today will be a non-issue.
Well, that was one of my things. I think right now the Democratic Party is so desperate and trying every book cheat they got, every cheat in the book they got to do whatever they got. And I don't even think it's going to be. I don't even think the election's going to be decided early November. I really tell you, just by the way they're trying to push mail-in ballots and
Yeah.
already finding that there's corruption in them, and yet they're denying it. And I'm telling you, this is going to be probably the worst nightmare of an election ever. And I wouldn't even be surprised if you have groups of people intimidating people at the polls. Like, I think this is going to be the
Like
worst.
that every 4 years.
Yeah, but dude, I voted before, maybe a couple
Yeah.
times, and I've never had anybody standing outside and trying to intimidate me. I've never. Now,
Me
if people
neither.
want to protest or do that, sure. But I'm telling you right now, there will be a physical presence to
Well-
disrupt the election.
Well, when you say intimidate, what do you mean? Because now the protesting, I've seen that people standing out with signs. Well, it's not
Sure.
even a protest, really. They're just saying who you should vote for. Hey,
Sure.
vote for this person because this other guy is bad.
That's no
You know.
different than the stupid lawn signs,
Yeah.
which I could have thrown in my pull the pin, but I didn't think about it and I already ruined that. Because those signs, all they do is just end up trash in the wind, and people
Yeah.
kick them down, change them to
Yeah.
other lawns and whatever.
Yeah. But no, I really I can't pinpoint it on one specific thing, but I don't know. It's just what I'm hearing, what I'm reading. I'm like, man, if they don't let this go, I don't see him getting reelected. I really don't. And if you notice, I'm not happy or sad or anything. It's just okay.
Yeah.
Because the alternative is always the other team, and I'm past those two teams because I've seen bad in both teams. So yeah.
Yeah, part of me wants, part of me wants our president not to be reelected, because I do want all this stuff to stop.
Oh,
Right?
okay. I get it.
I want all
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
nonsense to stop. So the crybabies that are, and it's already been proven, every election lost except for the extreme ones have been declared. The Democrats have said, oh, they're not real. They didn't win. It wasn't legit. They've already said every election that the Republicans won that was anywhere other than a landslide, the Democrats have claimed it was illegitimate.
Yeah.
Always. So it's just part of the
Recount.
game, like you just said. It's
Recount.
always part of the game.
We got to recount those votes.
Right. So unless it's
Yeah.
a landslide, they're never going to accept defeat. But I think they've
Well,
tried. What's that?
well, no, I did hear something about. I really didn't hear anything on that last election about there was some type of shenanigans going on. You know what I mean? I didn't.
Well,
hear it.
whether it's going on or not, the point is that they don't accept defeat.
Right.
It's just that
But-
simple. They cry that it was fake or it was cheating or something every time they lose.
I did not hear that on that last one because he crushed her.
Who you talking about?
Trump?
Trump?
Yeah.
What do you mean you didn't hear it, dude?
No, I didn't.
You're living it.
Oh, God,
Russia
man, nah.
collusion,
I don't
corruption. That is
Uh,
all
no,
the same
no.
thing.
No, I'm sorry. No, I'm just talking about because the bottom line numbers. he
No. Whoa,
crushed her.
talking about. Hillary won the popular vote. Didn't you hear that?
Yeah.
Aren't they trying to do away with the electoral college?
Yeah, but they've been trying to do that for the longest, man.
Okay,
That's why I don't pay attention to it.
I get it, but isn't
Okay,
that
I get it. I
complaining?
get it. I get it. Yeah.
She won the popular vote.
Yeah.
So we should
yeah.
have,
Okay. All right.
American Idol telephone votes. Why can't we
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that? Why can't we go to everyone has a phone, right? That's
You know
your
how many
ID.
people have? Okay, you want the cell phone sales to spike now?
Who doesn't have a phone, dude?
I'm just saying.
Nobody's
now people
buying a
are gonna
new
have
phone to
5
vote.
10 of them.
Nobody's
What?
going to buy a new phone just to vote.
Oh my goodness.
Everyone has a
Okay.
phone,
Okay.
a phone number assigned to their name.
Yeah, I get that. but people will find a way, and they'll buy. They don't even have to
Well,
buy
maybe your
another
social
phone.
security isn't it? Don't you have to put your social security to pin it to your phone number when you do a credit check? Or no, maybe not
Ooh,
all phones,
no.
but maybe that'd be a way. Pin your social security number to your phone with your phone is your ID number.
Why not just have a voter's ID card?
I
Just swipe.
agree. I agree. But you got a
Yeah.
lot of people, specifically on one side, that don't want that because they won't be able to cheat. I don't see a
Okay.
logical justification for not letting people get a voter ID. They tried that stupid stuff where like black people can't get a driver's license. Dude, if I was black,
Never heard that. But
you've never heard that? They
no.
said, yeah, they said because minorities can't find it, get to a DMV or something to get an ID card.
Well, okay.
You've never, yeah. I would be mad at that. Are you saying I'm too stupid? I can't go get an ID card? They've
Mm,
tried that. They've tried
okay.
every excuse in the book. That's what I'm saying. So what's the excuses? What's the harm? Let everybody get a voter card. Boom. It's a system. Everybody's in it anyway.
I say if you have a driver's license, it should be connected in that database, or you should have a voter ID card.
Sure.
One of the two. So for
But
those who
like I
don't have a
said,
license.
you got people right now who are desperately trying to take back power who are against that.
But they do have. Well, okay. All right. I'm gonna say they all have the power.
So I'm not going to say that the reverse wouldn't be true if the roles were reversed, because let's get this clear. After all this, I know we can talk about a whole different subject, but I don't trust any of them.
Right.
But if we
Well, I
have,
will say you lean a lot towards the right, man.
well, I do because I believe in a lot of the things they push.
Right.
But I also know that a lot of their lip service has been pushed for years.
Right.
Like if you want to say I lean Republican, I didn't agree with Bush on a lot of things.
Yeah,
know
but
what I
it
mean?
doesn't matter.
Right, but I think the foundation, the fundamental core of what they tend to do, leans toward the things that I do believe in.
Right.
But I
But
also don't think you or anyone else is evil because you don't believe what I believe. But your behaviors,
what are you talking about? 2 shows ago, you called me evil.
well, right, well, okay, let me take that back. I also called you a lot of other things, and we don't want to revisit those.
Right. But what do you think? Let's reel it back in. As far as military, do you think more military lean right or left, or they
You know,
just center?
I want to believe that more military lean more right or conservative types. That's what I want to believe. But I'm also starting to believe, as I stated earlier in that very long breakdown of, the drawdown, I think we have a lot more left-leaning people in the military today that would rather not be in wars. And I think when
Mm,
you're directly affected by war, Republicans tend to be the group, the label, the side that ends up in war.
yeah, yeah.
So
That's
that's why
why a lot of U.S. civilian contractors love Republicans.
right, because war makes money.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
But I don't think the people going to war really want to be in war. But I do think that by going to war, it does elicit some national pride.
Right.
So I think that has a play too. So I really couldn't give you a straight answer, even though I just tried to give you one.
hmm
But
I mean, it's a shot in the dark, man. A crap shot, crap
yeah,
shoot, whatever.
I don't
But
know. I mean,
I would say I would, and I have nothing like you. I have nothing to base this off of. But I would say probably right, lean towards the right,
yeah,
and it's not a bad thing.
no, I
It,
would
it
say
really
traditionally,
isn't.
yeah,
Yeah,
because think about it too, because Second Amendment tends to be a more right-leaning thing, right?
yeah,
So how many people in the military don't want to use guns?
right.
You know what I mean? Like there are some, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but
What do they call those again? Oh man.
conscientious objectors.
Yes, conscientious objector. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
So a lot of people in the military tend to like their guns, and I don't even mean like them as like I'm not even a gun fanatic, dude.
Right.
People are like I've been in law enforcement, I've been in the military. You could pull out a gun and say, "Oh, look at that! I don't know what it is, dude. It
No.
shoots." Like I might not
Yeah.
even be able to tell the caliber if I look at the back of it. But I do believe in the Second Amendment. I
I'm
do
the same
own.
way. Yeah.
I believe in it. I know how to
Yeah.
operate it. I know how to, clean it and break it down. And
Yeah. My
you know,
nephew and I go to the shooting range sometimes, and we always have somebody right next to us saying, "Oh yeah, is that new P229?" I was like, "Uh huh."
exactly, exactly.
I
And
know.
then that's when you turn it and point it at them and say, "I don't know. It's not on the label here."
Yeah, exactly, man. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. It's just
Right.
Hey, I pulled it. I aim. I pull the trigger. I
Right,
squeeze the trigger. Squeeze. Don't pull it.
right,
You
right.
squeeze the trigger and it fires. That's it. That's all I can tell you about it. And I like it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
So
about it.
that's enough proof to me to think that I would think a lot of military tend to lead right, which would lead me to believe that I think they tend to support the military, strengthening up, the money. So I would think that a lot of people in the military support this president because I think he's doing those things for the military.
I would say that whether they would admit it or not, a lot of our military support, no matter who's in there.
Well, okay, fair enough.
You,
I do
you,
agree
you know
with
what I
that
mean?
because I think the discipline factor and the pride
Yep.
and all that. But I
Yeah.
think if you ever had a president come in trying to uh, dismantle or take down the military, bash them like our police are facing,
Yeah.
I think then you would see a lot of minds changed where, whoa, I don't support this. And I think we even talked about the first episode where we had a couple of officers go against our president, try and act like they're speaking for the military.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the time where I say, wait a minute, now I'm going to back the president because even if I don't like the man's character, I still have to have some respect for his position.
Right.
And I think we're trained to do that.
Yep. Yep. And not all of us follow the training, by the way.
No. And I have to tell you, full disclosure here is I have recently had conversations with a couple veterans that are totally on the opposite side of me. And I mean, to the point where I'm like, you served in the military?
Mm.
Like I just totally, and I have to tell you, the problem with that is, yes, I can be passionate. Yes, I could be, really into what I believe, but they don't want to listen to you. And that's just my experience. There's not an open dialogue to see both sides. And I feel like even if I'm a little resistant to the other side, because I believe strongly in what I believe, I still can reflect on what you say, or I can still say, hey, you're a good person. I have to hear this.
Mm.
But I don't see that coming back the other way.
I can say the same thing, but for the other side.
What do you mean?
Matter of fact, no, now that I think back to a lot of conversations I've had with people, no, I can say it for both sides. There's a lot of people who they call it passionate on their political beliefs, but they're not swayed by anything.
Well, I think that's more.
Anything.
I think that's more prevalent today.
No, not for me.
I don't ever remember that before. Like I said, but I wasn't really following politics. I didn't
Right.
care about the politics. I knew there was politics in the military. In fact, it was politics that got me out of the military.
Whoa. Are you talking about when you say that last statement you made about how they're very passionate and like you can't even talk to them or they don't want to talk to you? You're talking about soldiers or
Yeah. I was talking about
veterans?
veterans. I was talking about, well, I was talking about veterans now because that's what I encountered. I don't count.
Oh,
You
okay.
probably deal with a lot more soldiers today than I deal with. And the climate has probably changed. It's been a while since I've been around, active duty soldiers.
Right.
So I can't even speak for them anymore, even though I'm not supposed to speak for them because that's the rule.
Yeah.
But I can't even gauge the climate of today's soldiers because I'm really not around them as often like you are.
Right. And it's only one base though.
Sure.
And
Yes.
that's why I like it when we have these conversations because I just have to have people understand when I speak, I'm talking about my personal experience. We're talking to soldiers, talking to veterans, talking to contractors, talking to whomever, police officers. I'm not speaking for all because I would never pretend to do that.
Right. It's in the disclaimer. We don't claim to it. Even if you want to go in our comments and call us a bunch of idiots because you don't believe, that's so. I mean, I think I've seen in some previous shows a couple comments. Not really sure what they meant, but if you don't agree, that's fine too. We don't expect you to agree with everything we say.
I want people to disagree with me.
Sure,
Come and
sure.
get some. Come and get some.
And maybe at some point we're looking at trying to get some other people on the show just to join as special guests. And maybe if you really have something intelligent to say, maybe we'll look at inviting you on. But if you just want to troll and throw mean things, we can do that too. So we're not really interested in that.
I say bring them on, Jim. Let's bring them on, man.
Mike will be the troll exterminator.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I've been around a lot of internet lately, and I've always been told never to feed the trolls. You kind of just ignore them and let them go.
Yeah.
So if you really want to share and get involved, say something educated, or just move on to some other channel you'd rather watch.
No, bring it here. Bring it here.
All right, so let's wrap this up because I think we kind of feel. I don't know if you want to have a closing on that, where you want to go at the election. I kind of feel like
What do you think?
I really feel like this is going to be the biggest mess of an election I've ever seen in the history of my existence.
Why?
I agree with you.
I don't want to keep going down the rabbit hole.
Look, I agree with you that politics is politics. I agree it's all cyclical and it's regurgitated from either side all the time. But I just feel like they've gotten so in tuned in this information age that they've crossed the line, or what people call was the fourth wall or whatever. I don't know. They crossed the fourth wall into everybody's house. I think they've pitted people against each other more than I've ever seen in my life.
Mm.
And I just think it's become so personal that's why you're probably experiencing people who are headstrong on their beliefs, where before, I even got a good friend of mine who's like, Jim, what does it bother you? It shouldn't bother you. It doesn't affect your life. But I'm
Right.
forward thinking, saying it could affect my life. It will
Right.
affect my life. So I am invested now. And I think they've managed to do that. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but they've managed to pull me in.
Okay. I've been pulled in. It took me a long time to get out of it, man. That grudge match. That's all it is a grudge match, man. And whoever throws the most mud doesn't always win.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I just can't get into it anymore. I can't. So if somebody thinks their side is better, I'm like, okay, do you really want to have a conversation about it? Because get ready.
Right.
All right, because I guarantee that'd be one time someone wants to pull the pin on me.
well, we probably had our pin pulled quite a bit already.
Oh yeah.
We've got enough episodes out there that anybody watching can be like, "Oh, I'm pulling the pin on this, guys."
But you ready to pull the pin on this one?
Yes, let's pull the pin on that, and let's move into
right.
our segment that we call "Pull the Pin Already." Basically, to reiterate again, it's just something that we kind of see in the world, and we just want to share and say we're kind of tired of, or we'd like to see change. So
Yeah.
I think you have the honor of taking this one first.
Yeah. Jim, I need your help. I might be wrong on this one, man. I might be, but it's something near and dear to me, and I always say that. I know.
Yes, everything is near and dear to you.
But hey, I think we're too closed off in our society today. I am tired of privacy fences. Whatever happened to the old white picket fences just to establish those boundaries? Why do we have to have a 5.5 to 6 foot wall up there, wooden wall up there? Why, Jim? Why do you need privacy when you come outside? I don't get it, Jim. I don't get it. If it were up to me, matter of fact, if I was president, the first day in office, I would outlaw privacy fences. Pull the pin, Jim.
Yeah.
We don't need them. That's how labels are formed, Jim.
Yeah,
They
I get
are.
it. I would hate for you to be seeing through my fence while I'm sunbathing naked or cooking up my crystal meth. You know what I mean? Like, I just would hate for you to be there.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah, no,
This might be the first time.
no, neither one of those things actually happened. So
This might be the first time we want to put the pin back in. Hold up. I just had a visual.
but and just to tail on that, it is kind of silly too, because most of my neighbors can see over my fence anyway. And they have these drones that these people like to fly around and spy on, so I don't really see it either. And another caveat to that is I would rather people see that I have a dog that's going to bite them than just hear it and think, well, maybe it's not.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you. Although, privacy, we've become private people because we put all our stuff on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yet we hide what's in our backyard.
Yeah. And number one shows on TV today are reality shows. Wow.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
And people go into video and all their family and their house and everything, and yet they put a fence to hide. All right. We can have a whole topic on that. Forget it. All right, Jim, I appreciate that. So
What's yours, Jim?
I'm going to switch directions here. I'm going to stay inside the house. But, I recently even had a conversation about this with a friend of mine he went out of his way on YouTube to master this art and still couldn't figure it out. And I told him, this is something I gave up on a long time ago. It's this thing that we all use, or well, I can't say we most use, but never really give it the credit it's given. It's the fitted sheet. I do not know who came up with this idea. It's a great concept. You put it on and it stays there. Well, number one, my bed, it doesn't always stay there. So I still have to buy straps. And number two, How do you fold these things? They
Oh man.
never fold right, ever.
Oh, my wife always laughs at me when I try to fold those things. She always laughs. Hey, how do those straps work?
Oh, they
Do they
don't
work?
work. No, they
They
don't
don't?
work.
Okay.
Well, let me put it this way. If you get the right ones, they
Mhm.
will work. But eventually, your body weight with that mattress is pulling any strap off.
Gotcha.
And I don't mean that as a fat joke because I'm not saying you're fat. I'm just saying that the normal man's body weight is
Right.
pulling those sheets too far, and you might even get snapped in the head with one of those things. Now, if you
Okay.
are somebody out there who has experience and this has never happened to you, you're probably very light,
Yeah.
or you
Yeah.
probably float when you sleep.
I was always wondering about those things. Do they work? Do they
I've
actually
bought
work?
several types, dude. The ones I
Really?
have now, they hold good, but it doesn't matter. They'll just work their way up eventually.
Oh, okay.
So
Wow. About what's the average length of time that they continue to work, Jim?
that depends on the person who's sleeping in the bed and what they're doing.
I'm talking about you.
Oh, I'm not about to share my personal business about my bed straps. Come on, Mike. Do we have to take a tour through Mike's bedroom?
No, no, another
All right.
visual.
So let's
Put the
leave that
pin.
one there.
We need a segment, Jim. Another segment.
Oh, we'll come up
Return
with
the pin. Return the pin.
yeah, things that can't be undone.
Right, right.
All right, so let's call it on that one. Let's
All right.
go all of our fitted sheets in the lawn in our backyard with no privacy fences, so
That's
everybody
right.
can see we don't know how to fold them. Oh my goodness. All right, well, that's all the time we have for this episode. But thanks for joining us here at Pull the Pin already. We hope you had as much fun as we did. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, or whatever else you want to do. But most importantly, leave a comment. Let us know how you
Peace.
feel. And until next time, Godspeed.
And pull the pin.